Chapter 9, Dragon Tiger Physique, a force equal to 1,000 caddies. In the face of his wife's blatant favoritism, Master Liu was quite dissatisfied. After all, no matter how strong Han Yi is, no matter how excellent he is still a tenant farmer of the Liu Manor. His freedom is not his own. Simply put, he was jealous of Han Yi. So when faced with Madame Lia's suggestion, Liu Xinglong didn't take it to heart. And casualiplet, a common man, if he has no cultivation base, no matter how many titles he has, they are useless. After all, he only possesses physical power, and it's only those who have mastered divine power who could be considered as real talents. Originally, he had high hopes for Han Yi, but under the insinuations of his wife, he inexplicably developed a repulsion for Han Yi. Liu Linky, who was standing by, also nodded her head in agreement. Father is right. City warriors or knights, no matter how strong they are in martial arts, are mediocre. Only the path to immortality is the true route. As for Han Yi, whether he is a dragon or a worm, we will have to see how he performs. However, Madame Liu apparently disagreed with their statements. Seeing both her husband and daughter oppose her suggestion, she was clearly not happy. But for some reason, whenever she saw Han Ye's face, she always had an inexplicable fondness for him. This feeling wasn't out of the blue, but gradually emerged after hearing about Han Ye's bloody tiger-killing deeds. Yet the thoughts of the people she was closest to contradicted hers, which puzzled her. Martial arts platform, the sky was clear. After being assigned to a team, Han Yi came to the side of the waiting stable. He was surrounded by forage and was unaware of everything happening in the stands. He was staring at the man before him, watching as the selected contender took a deep breath and lifted the stone lock in front of him. The rules had already specified the 3 stages: physical body, bone exploration, blood marrow. The first stage, physical body, was to see how strong one's body was, requiring everyone to lift stone locks of varying weights. Don't worry about not being able to lift them, because there are stone locks weighing 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 jin. Everyone can get the corresponding score according to the weight of the stone lock they lift. The heavier the weight lifted, the higher the score. The lighter the weight lifted, the lower the score. It's that simple. As long as one can lift a stone lock weighing 100 jin, it's considered a pass. It's to let others know that you're not a weakling. No high standards. The man standing before Han Yi seemed to be a knight from another county, named Gao Kiching. He took a deep breath, chose a 400 jin stone lock, and centered his ki in his danchin. He widened his stance and assumed a slight squatting position. This way, he can exert more strength. Buzz. The sound of the stone lock rubbing against the ground rang out. Then it, weighing 400 jin, was lifted directly up to his chest. However, his entire face had started to turn red. It was evidently because of the blood surging. After enduring for about 4 to 5 breaths, he finally couldn't hold on and put the stone lock down. He was panting heavily. Even so, the stand erupted in excited cheers. Who is this man? He's so strong. This man is Gao Kiching, a knight from the north, a swordsman belonging to the Long Rainbow Sword Academy. He's not known for his strength. It's a pity this isn't a swordsmanship competition, otherwise there might be some surprises. Gao Kiching stepped down from the stage after putting down the stone lock. Next, Wang Daniu from Liu Manor. The old steward announced loudly with a roster in his hand. Brother Han, I'm off. Wang Daniu grinned and walked toward the martial arts platform. Go on, Daniu, Han Yi encouraged with a smile. He knew these stone locks were nothing for Daniu. When Wang Daniu got on the stage, compared to Gao Kiching's solemn seriousness, he seemed more nervous. Yet the seemingly ordinary Wang Daniu chose to stand in front of a 500 jin stone lock. Wait, is this man trying to lift the 500 jin one? Is it real or fake? I've never seen anyone able to lift 500 jin. Aren't these stone locks usually just for show? I think I've seen it once in the martial arts competition in Zhongnan Prefecture 5 years ago. As the stands erupted in speculation, Wang Daniu simply lifted the 500 jin stone lock with his right hand. The 500 jin stone lock answered him and rose up. It only stayed by his chest for a moment and soon raised above his head. And Wang Daniu looks like he's not even flustered, not panting. He seemed to have strength to spare. A wave of astonishment swept over the audience. Apparently no one had expected Liu Manor to house such a powerhouse. Liu Manor surprisingly has such talent. This 500 Jin stone lock, the last person to lift it was my son when he was 18, commented Liu Manor's lord. Seated in the center, taken aback by the performance of Wang Daniu. Liu Linky nodded. However, my elder brother lifted it only within the manor. The feat is unknown to outsiders. This simpleton is worth cultivating. Liu Xinglong commented approvingly. At the same time, it was then that Han Yi spotted a few green orbs silently falling, landing at Wang Daniu's feet. More attributes to pick up. Great! He was up next. After holding the stone lock above his head for mere 10 breaths, Wang Daniu gently let it down. The moment the stone lock hit the ground, a slight tremor passed through the floor. Leaving the platform, Wang Daniu nodded at Han Yi, his eyes full of trust. Han Yi responded with a smile. He stepped onto the martial arts platform, first scanning the spectators in the stands. Noticing many gazes filled with reverence and anticipation. Apparently, most had heard of his wrestling a tiger and were eager to see his performance. He gave a slight smile, silently issuing a command in his mind to acquire. Acquiring attribute, strength of an ox 2. Acquiring attribute, strength of an ox 2. Acquiring attribute, strength of an ox 2. Promote? To Han Yi's surprise, the attribute strength of an ox was now maxed out. As he mentally affirmed the promotion, his mind was flooded with unparalleled green light. The golden word accumulation shot out a beam of light, causing the green light in his mind to transform just like a power-up. A mysterious deep blue beam began to flicker. Dragon Tiger Physique 1500, extraordinary physical body, far superior to ordinary people. Imbued with dragon and tiger breath, never ceasing, capable of easily lifting a weight of 1,000 jins. The attribute strength of an ox, flawless, transformed. Han Yi felt an unprecedented sense of comfort in his body. Every inch of his muscle is bursting with vitality, filled with explosive strength, as if he had endless energy. A faint hint of vitality was circulating in his danshan. Could this be the dragon and tiger breath? Ignoring his speculation, he turned his attention to the 500 Jin stone lock. If points were scored by weight, he should just max it out for this round, right? Without wasting any words, he placed one hand on the 500 Jin stone lock before he could even get a feel of its weight. It was swiftly lifted off the ground without any pause. At this, even Han Yi was taken aback. He had not expected his strength to increase by so much. The dragon and tiger breath from his danshan seemed like swimming dragons, attaching to his hands. He raised the stone lock above his head. It felt like lifting a heavy cotton flower. Sure, it was heavy, but not pressuring at all. Seeing another 500 Jin stone lock at his feet, Han Yi decided to try lifting with both hands to see if it would exert a greater pressure. Hence, he lifted it effortlessly with his left hand. The whole field was plunged into a brief silence. All eyes were drawn to Han Yi, horrified. To lift the 2 stone locks, weighing 1,000 jin in total, above his head took less than 30 breaths of time. Could this man possess supernatural strength? As Han Yi dropped the 1000 jin stone locks, the entire ground shook with a tremor. It wasn't that he could not hold on any longer, he simply didn't feel like holding them anymore. After a moment of silence, gasps resounded from the audience stands. Lord Liu Xinglong, stunned by the sight, could hardly believe his eyes. The Madam of Liu Manor, spotting this, gently laughed. Didn't I say so? Isn't my eye for people spot on? What does your lordship think of Han Yi's performance? This it's hard to comment. The words seemed stuck in Liu Xinglong's throat.